Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. This is the Kennedale City Council regular meeting. Today is March 17th, 2026, and 5:30 p.m. We are in City Council Chambers, 405 Municipal Drive, Kennedale, Texas, 76060. Madam Secretary, may I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mayor Brad Horton.
Here.
Place 1, Councilmember David Glover.
Here.
Place 2, Councilmember Thelma Kobeck.
Present.
Place 3, Mayor Pro Tem Kenneth Michaels.
Here.
Place 5, Councilmember Jeff Navarez.
Here.
All are present, sir.
Thank you. This time, we're going to do our invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. I'm going to ask Councilman Navarez to lead us in our invocation, Councilman Michaels to lead us in our pledges. Please stand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please pray with me. Father God, we're just blessed to live in this city, Lord. We're blessed to live in such a great state that we call Texas. We ask that you continue to bless our communities and our businesses, and we ask that you be with our soldiers overseas as they deal with Iran. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge the United States flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
All right. At least I'm not hearing things. At this time, we're going to move into our public comment section, and the Kennedale City Council welcomes comments from the public. Those wishing to speak must sign in prior to the start of the meeting. Speakers may speak on any topic, whether on the agenda or not, and the Kennedale City Council cannot act upon, discuss issues raised, or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Issue inquiries regarding matters not listed on the agenda may be referred to staff for research and/or possible future action by the board. Do we have any speakers?
Sir, we have 2 speakers, but they want to speak on the agenda item, not during public comment.
Anybody wishing to speak now? All right. So with that, we are going to move into our presentations. And the first is we have a swearing in of 2 new officers, Officer Stone and Officer Whitehead. Chief Carlson.
He served his community with professionalism and integrity while gaining experience across a wide range of calls for service. He was also a member of the department fitness team and gained experience working with youth through school resource officer assignments. He grew up in Athens, Texas, where he developed a deep appreciation for small town values and strong community relationships. He played collegiate football at the Air Force Academy and the University of Central Arkansas, where he learned the importance of discipline, teamwork, and leadership. After graduating, he spent 4 years as a coach and educator, mentoring young athletes and developing character and accountability. Officer Whitehead is a proud father of 3, Courtney Jr., Ava, and London. He is committed to protecting the community while building strong relationships through service and leadership. He is honored to take his oath and serve the citizens of Kennedale. Excuse me. The next officer I'd like to introduce this evening is Officer Michael Stone. Prior to entering the academy, Michael Stone has served as a manager at Sun Auto and Tire, where he also worked as a corporate trainer over front of the house employees. In that role, he developed leadership skills, accountability, and the ability to mentor and guide others. He takes pride in being a servant leader, someone who leads from the front while supporting those around him. He's always had a strong desire to work in law enforcement. His passion for service was deeply influenced by his cousin, Michael Nellums, whose example motivated him to pursue his calling. Inspired by that example of integrity and dedication, Michael committed himself to earning his peace officer license and serving the community. Outside of his professional life, Michael's greatest joy is his family. He enjoys spending time with his loving wife and their two beautiful children. Excuse me. He also enjoys playing flag football at all levels and stages, as well as video games. Michael understands that wearing the badge is both an honor and a responsibility, and he is committed to serving with integrity, professionalism, and a servant's heart. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me. So I'd like to do first is have Officer Whitehead, can you please come up here? We'll administer the policing oath of honor. So raise your right hand. Repeat after me. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
and ensure that my actions
and ensure my actions
are dedicated to ensuring
are dedicated to ensuring
the safety of my community
the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself and others
to hold myself and others
accountable for our actions.
accountable for our actions.
I will always maintain the highest ethical standards
I will always maintain the highest ethical standards
and uphold the values of my community
and uphold the values of my community
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Ladies and gentlemen, Courtney Whitehead. Thank you all for that. Right over here. Officer Stone. This is Officer Stone. Officer Stone, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
and ensure that my actions are dedicated
and ensure my actions are dedicated
to ensuring the safety of my community
to ensuring the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself and others
to hold myself and others
accountable for our actions.
accountable for our actions.
I will always maintain the highest
I will always maintain the highest
ethical standards
ethical standards
and uphold the values of my community
and uphold the values of my community
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Michael Stone. Just real quick, can I have our officers come up and just take one quick photograph, please?
Guys.
All right, so with this, we're going to do a proclamation in honor of Women's History Month. And the proclamation reads, whereas the city of Kennedale serves to honor the contributions of women in American history, highlighting their roles in education, leadership, business, science, public services, and social movements. And whereas it encourages Americans to celebrate the achievements of women and to reflect on their impact on society. And whereas we are honoring women and their impact on generations while acknowledging their leadership and the way that they influence in shaping this great nation. Whereas today, Women's History Month is celebrated all across this nation through community events, museum exhibits, educational programs, and whereas in 1987, Congress passed Public Law 100-9, officially designated March as Women's History Month in the United States. Therefore, I, Brad Horton, as mayor of the city of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Women's History Month. And anybody receive the
All right, let's pass this around.
All right, so now we're going to move. We've got TCAP presentation. Drew Shores.
All right. Good evening. I want to thank the mayor and the council for letting me talk about TCAP and what we do for you guys. I'm Drew Shores. I'm the assistant to the executive director of TCAP. Do we have we're working on it. Oh, do I need to click on it? Okay. Okay. Go ahead and start. So who is TCAP? TCAP was, sorry, is the most simple way to say it is we're a nonprofit that does electricity for cities. We have now 176 members. Kennedale is a founding member from 2001. And our board of directors is elected by our members from our membership. And you can see what cities are on there that have a board, a director of the board. So why TCAP? The reason is we can get lower rates. We're a non-profit political division, and we pull over 1 billion kilowatt energy hours, and we buy a wholesale. We have an attractive load profile. And the reason why is because we do combine all of our members' electricity. And if in your packets, you can see that member A has higher overnight hours, and then member B has more daytime hours. And then when we combine those two, we get a flatter load. And that blue line there means the flatter load means we get better pricing. So what makes us uniquely different is that we are written to the government code. We buy wholesale. We also, we do have an electric retail provider, but they only do the billing portion of what we do. And if we ever need to change, the retail electric provider, we can always get rid of them and go with somebody else. And then, but we can still keep the pricing. Some of the things we do is we do annual budget estimates, which should be coming out soon. We do assistance with state reporting. I sent out the SECO reports last month. You also have access to energy consultants, review of renewable contracts. So say if you wanted to put solar panels on top of City Hall, we can look at those contracts and make sure that they're a good fit, or if you need to run away. We also do energy conservation programs. We have our own billing portal. We do monthly webinars. The next one will be on energy conservation tips, and that's on the last Friday of every month. Again, we have a peer elected board of directors, and TCAP also has a voice at the legislative, PUC, or caught in the Railroad Commission. We also recently gave out refunds. I came here in December personally, and I dropped off a refund check to the city for $2,296.53. So how we buy energy is a little different. We call it strategic purchasing. We buy 1 month at a time, 2 years, and so that gives us a more stable pricing. So if you can look on the chart, we have the blue lines, and those blue lines are the range of prices throughout the year. And then those red lines or little red dashes are the average prices. So you can see that they're quite a bit lower and more stable. So how we know this type of purchasing is working, if you look on the historical pricing of retail electric, which is the red line, and then that blue line is our price against retail, commercial retail pricing. And so we have been consistent since we have been doing this. We have been consistently under commercial retail pricing consistently. So some key things to know about electricity contracts. Electricity is exempt from bidding just due to the nature of how electricity contracts work. Contract language could include costs that include not included in the price. And I'll show you some of those examples here in a second. You'll have it on there in your packet. Off-the-shelf contracts don't help cities. TCAP tailors contracts specifically towards cities and to the needs of cities. So what we say is don't be fooled by fixed pricing because based on line items, they're not really fixed. So what we're seeing more of, if you in your packet, there's only really two types of charges. They're ancillary and congestion. And what we've been seeing more and more of is that they're we're making line items of these types of charges. To keep the kilowatt prices down. So on the top right of that bill, if you can see it in your packet, there's a thing called hub to load pass through. And if you ask them if you charge congestion, they'll say, no, we don't charge a congestion fee, but a hub to pass load is a congestion fee. So that's some of the things we're trying to get standards in with the PUC. See, well, and yeah, so just be careful of what you look in the electricity bill. And that's it. If you have any questions, I can answer them. Also, our executive director is here. If she can help me answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so now we have the 2025 City of Kennedale Annual Fire Department Report. Chief Peterson, the floor is yours.
How do I make the little screen go away? Move it. Get rid of that little guy. Minimize it. Down here.
Just FYI, while they're getting set up, after Chief Peterson's done, we're going to go ahead and conduct our public hearings. So you guys can get out of here at a decent hour that are here for our public hearing. So sorry, Chief, the floor is
No
yours.
problem. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members, city manager, city staff. I'm pleased to provide this report for fiscal year 25 on the fire department. And as usual, just like in the last year when you saw the slide, our mission remains the same, and that is to provide EMS and fire protection to our city, to our citizens. And we do this through the best that we can, and we have core values that spell out drive and dedication, respect, integrity, vision, and excellence. And that's what we try to maintain every day. We do maintain. And just to briefly show you our organizational chart, we've got, of course, the fire chief as department head. We have medical director who's over our EMS program, the ambulance service. We have to have that in place, and that's through Best EMS. And of course, the fire marshal's office. We have assistant chief, admin assistants. So that's your admin staff, basically. Your Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 personnel. For fire operations, we've got 3 shifts. They work 4896. We have lieutenant on each shift that is over those personnel. Engineer who's in charge of driving that fire truck and pumping at fire scenes and basically getting them there safely. And the rest of the crews are firefighter paramedics. I'm proud to say that through this year, we finally reached full staffing. We've hired and filled all our vacancies. We do have one person that is in Fire Academy currently, and she will be out in May and starting with us on shift. And then saying that, I have had one resign that's going to another department. So we will be advertising again just because I'm down one. Just to talk about the admin personnel that have started this year, Becca Lee is our admin assistant, and my assistant chief, Joey Craddock, started in February. And so they've each been here just over a year. As far as new firefighter paramedics, we have 2 of those that started in August, Ethan Conlin and Riles Powell. These guys are young and eager and just thrilled to be here, and it's good to have. This is their first department, so we're training them up right. Talk a little bit about our equipment that we have. Engine 59, Brush 59, Medic 59. These are all relatively new equipment. Brush 59 is our new brush truck that we just finally received after being on order for a while and in line to be built. So we received that. And then, of course, we've got reserve equipment, Engine 259, Medic 259. Utility is our Polaris, mainly used at special events and things like that. We do have another ambulance that was just received, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in a slide. So we basically have a Medic 359 as well. It is not in service yet, but we're working on that to get equipment on it and have it stocked, and then we'll get it licensed through the Department of Health. So total calls for service. This is an interesting slide because you can see that for fiscal year 2025, we dropped. And that's a good thing, I guess. Ambulance calls were down, fire calls were down, and our total was 1,392 for the year. And again, this is fiscal year, but even when I ran the numbers for 2025 from calendar year, it's relatively the same. And there's really no rhyme or reason why that happened other than we do good inspections and fire prevention activities, and sometimes that's just the way the ball rolls. But I can tell you already for fiscal year 26, we're at 633 calls. So we're almost at that halfway point, and we're going to run about the same if we stay on track with that, but we still have a summertime to get through. So just to break down the calls for service a little bit more, on fire calls, we are at 517 for the fiscal year, 875 EMS. This slide just kind of repeats itself, but more importantly, on the EMS side of it, our ambulance calls that we run, 540 of those were transports. 335 of those calls were either refusals, canceled, no patient, whatever it might have been, but 540 were transported. As far as where do we go with these patients on our transports, you can see that Mansfield Methodist is the top, with THR Mansfield being kind of second place, if you want to put it that way. But we obviously go to the appropriate facility depending on what that patient's condition is. And most of those transports are to the closer hospital, which is Mansfield. MCA, Arlington, Harris, they're just about as close. We kind of sit in the center, and so whatever direction we go, it's relatively the same as far as time and miles that we have to go. And of course, depending on the time of day and what the traffic, what construction is going on, that also kind of goes with our decision. And if the patient isn't critical or anything like that, the patient can say, I want to go to Mansfield. So we'll try to take them to that facility that they choose to go to. For mutual aid responses, we have a column for what is given and what is received. We have 180 calls that we responded out of our city to provide mutual aid, and 88 calls that they came into our city that was received. And just we have mutual aid contracts with Arlington, Mansfield, Everman, and Forest Hill. We also go to Rendon. But in January, just to kind of note of how many times an ambulance has come to our city, we, and of course, I'm getting into this current year, but AMR has responded to back us up on second ambulance calls 5 times. AFD has been in here 1 time to cover a fire call, and Everman twice, 2 times. And that's for January of this year. Our county mutual aid responses that we gave, 70 is the number for that, of number of times we've left our city to give response to the county. Now we have a certain area that's unincorporated. This includes Rendon, Crowley, other areas of the county, but the unincorporated part of that 70, 43 calls were responded to that in fiscal year 25. We're doing pretty good on our response time. We're maintaining that well. 4 minutes and 45 seconds is the average response time. And that's the time from the time the call was received by dispatch to us, and us being en route. Our fire and EMS training, we do quite a lot of it now. Now that we're staffed and we have new recruits, we're doing a lot more hands-on with them. It is difficult not being in our station and not having an area to actually pull hose easily. You'll see us in parking lots of churches and things like that they've allowed us to do that training. Some of the pictures you see here in this slide, we've gone to Mansfield to use their live fire training. And when we do that, we do hire in we keep a staff here to cover the city while we take our engine and ambulance to like Mansfield to do the live fire training. We do that quarterly at least, and we're trying to pick up times that we go more of a monthly basis. Where you see us working on this white car, that's at Beard's Towing. They're a good source right here in town. They allow us to use a vehicle and do training on extrication, and we can even put one of us in there as a patient and practice getting him out into the ambulance. And then that picture of messing with fire hose, that's inside our bay. So I can tell you that once we get to our new station again in June, I hope, no date yet, but June, we will have a training classroom that is going to be so utilized. It's really going to be nice to have that ability to do that. Fire prevention. This is where Hanson Pasco is a one-man show in fire prevention. And I say he's one man. Our crews back him up quite a bit when it comes to doing public safety events, school and daycare visits, career days, that kind of thing. We all help each other out and work as a team on that. He is our CPR coordinator, Stop the Bleed program, and so he's real involved with that. But for fiscal year 25, he's done 506 fire prevention inspections. He's reviewed several plans, and he's been involved with code and fire investigations. So he's quite active in that part of the department. Talk a little bit about revenue. Our ambulance fees, we took in $303,000. That's through Emergicon, our ambulance billing. The fire response fees, it's really just under 2,000. We didn't have I didn't have a good number on that, and that is through Emergent Fire. It's two separate divisions of our ambulance billing company, but Emergent Fire bills for when we have a car accident and there's a cleanup of fuel or oil, anything involved with that, they bill that insurance company for equipment or supplies that we've used. It's also when we have an extrication where we've used the tools to get a person out of a vehicle. They take our call information and will apply that towards their insurance and try to make some claim back. So it's not always something that's paid on. And of course, it has to be pretty clear on what they're billing for. The county fire response, that was before the Tarrant County ESD developed and became a fire department. The county fire response in our contract gave us $63,000 towards fire responses. The ambulance responses, we were at $8,010. And they kind of we would do a quarterly report to them of calls that we ran on ambulance transports and submitted that, and they would figure out what point value that we earned whatever money back. So that's how it came to those dollars. Grants, we had $580,000, and that's what bought that last ambulance that we have, Medic 359. And then $25,000 was also available through the Tarrant County ESD. And at that time, for fiscal year 25, it was under the Tarrant County Fire Marshal's office. But we got communication equipment with that. Some of the new equipment that we added to our fleet, Chief Joey Craddock has Chief 259. That's a 2025 pickup that's outfitted for response as well as doing fire command. And of course, Brush 59. Brush 59 replaced our old brush truck as well. It was a 2004 model, and it was auctioned off and purchased. As far as our community involvement, a lot of special events that we're involved with and we continue to be involved with. All these events you're familiar with. The big ones that we're part of is the Santa Around Town. Everybody looks forward to that. And of course, the fireworks show now with the Christmas program. And some of these goals you saw from last year, they're still there. The best practices accreditation is something that I'm still working on, and with the goal of completing it this year. What we're doing with that is we are revamping all of our guidelines to improve what we do, state what we do in our guidelines in writing, and come up to standards with the National Fire Protection Association. And really, it's all about safety and just doing the right thing every time. We're still looking at the ladder truck, 105-foot aerial ladder. You'll see that come up more for discussion as we start talking about budget. And of course, our operations and prevention staffing, we'll be watching that and looking at trying to increase that as well. Our training, we're always trying to keep that going, and especially for our officers and engineers, just more leadership training, keep building on the person to, as they move up through their career, to be able to take over my spot if need be, you know. And then our community fire safety events, that's everything from our smoke detector program, CPR. And the one thing that I did mention last year that I'm most excited about is when we do get moved into our station and we have that space, we will be doing a Citizens Fire Academy. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. From that, we'll build an alumni group, and we'll have that added support of manpower and staff to when we do special events. And special events is just one area. I mean, they'll be so useful to help out in many areas. That's it for my presentation on fiscal year 2025. Any questions?
Just a quick one, Chief. Can you clarify, by the way, well done. I see that a lot's changed since last year. You had mentioned on your hierarchy chart, I'm getting to it, I'm sorry. The medical director, and that's outsourced? Is that what you said?
The medical director is what?
Outsourced to EMS company?
Best EMS.
Okay.
Best.
All right. What does that mean? I guess.
It's the name of their company. They do several departments in the Metroplex. They come and actually, we have a medical director that oversees everything and develops our protocols. But we have instructors with Best EMS that come to us, and we do EMS training with them.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Chief, two quick questions. When do we expect to move back into the firehouse?
They are getting real close. The painting of the interior is pretty much complete. The brick and everything is completed. So we're looking at the beginning of June. I'm hoping for a June 1 date, but there's really been no date established just yet. But I really believe it'll be in June. We're moving along with it.
Okay. And then for the mutual aid given, do you have a sense of which kind of the breakdown of our neighbors and kind of, is there one neighbor that's receiving more mutual aid by a larger margin than the others?
From us, it would be, we go to Forest Hill quite a lot for structure fires. And that is another thing that we're on their first alarm assignment because they're a one fire station, one engine town as well, like us. So we're on their first alarm assignment. When they have a working fire, we also are dispatched. The same for when we have a fire, we get Forest Hill, Mansfield, and Arlington. And it's just depending on where we are in the city, where that call is located in the city. But as far as, I didn't run the numbers, but I would say we go to Forest Hill quite a lot. Really none to Arlington. And then Mansfield. Mansfield gets busy. We've sent our ambulance there a few times.
Perfect. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Chief, I got one question. On the revenue with the county fire response, it's showing $63,000. Is that counting the $52,000 contract we had with them?
That was the contract that
That
we
was the
had at that
contract. So
time.
basically, we just got $11,000 from
It's dropped,
additional fire
yes.
response.
I'm sorry, it's basically 11,000.
$11,000 extra for additional fire response by their point system.
Right. The fire response, they didn't do the points on that.
Okay.
That was just on ambulance calls, whether it was a transport or a refusal.
Okay,
If
and
we had a
then-
transport, they paid extra on that. The fire call, and this was the contract that was through the Tarrant County Fire Marshal's office at that time.
Right.
So it was just 63,000. It didn't matter how many calls we ran fire wise.
Okay. And I know we do a lot of mutual aid or burst in or box alarms with Forest Hill. I guess that's the best way to say it. A lot of times when we do respond, like they'll tone out for a structure fire, but we start going that way and a lot of times we do get canceled, right?
Correct.
If it's not a working fire.
Yeah, we'll start en route, and as soon as they get on scene, if it's something that they can handle or it's nothing showing, no fire, they will cancel us.
Okay.
And that happens quite a few times as well.
All right.
And
Thank you,
that's
sir.
still reflected in that number. We still went.
It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to go ahead and just switch a couple things around here. Go ahead and conduct our public hearings for sake of time. Sorry, Elizabeth, we'll get you up here. So the first one is to conduct a public hearing regarding the Community Development Block Grant CDBG proposed project ADA compliant sidewalks. And we're going to open our hearing at 6:14 PM. And Madam Secretary, do we have anybody wishing to speak?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. All right, sir. Floor is yours, Christian. Or next one.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. So the city of Kennedale has applied to the Tarrant County for a grant through the CDBG grant. And a part of applying for that grant, the application process, we need to conduct a public hearing. So we submitted a public hearing and we got our consultant engineer from Westwood to give us a little bit about the scope of that project. Christian. Yeah. This should be mine.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me. Thank you for the introduction, Christian. I'm Riley Perolik with Westwood Professional Services. I'm the contracted city engineer for City of Kennedale. Christian reached out to me in about September or October of the end of 2025 and talked to me about this grant that was with Tarrant County. I assisted him on looking at locations in Kennedale in which we could utilize this grant to install public infrastructure projects. The project that I'm going to talk to you about is West 3rd Street. It's right next to the library, connects to Kennedale Parkway, and pretty close to where we're at right now. And we're looking at adding in some ADA compliant sidewalks along the street. Quick introduction of what CDBG is. It's a community block development grant. Tarrant County actually awards this to multiple cities in the county on an every other year basis. So Kennedale's eligible on, I guess we're receiving it this year. So every even year, Kennedale's eligible for this. What it is since it's split between multiple municipalities in the county, it's about $150,000 grant. So I sat down with Christian and talked about what could we utilize these funds for to try to get a project taken care of. Another tough part about this is in order to utilize this grant, it has to serve a community where the LMI, the low to moderate income levels are above a 51%. This image you see on the screen is a block group in the city of Kennedale in which the low to moderate income is at 55.7%. So this is really the only eligible location that the city would be able to use these funds for. So when looking at this, it also has to be something that generally can improve the entire community, which when you look at this, the size of how big this group is, the block is, it's kind of tough to come up with something for the whole area. So when I spoke with Christian, we discussed why not looking at putting, there's no sidewalks on Third Street right now. And we discussed trying to put in a safe route to get to the library. There's a good amount of residential area that is serviced through this sidewalk. Quick project overview. We're looking at constructing approximately 1,175 foot of a 4-foot wide ADA compliant sidewalk. This will give the residents a safer route along West Third Street, access the public library and commercial areas that are quite adjacent to that area. With this project, there are bar ditches in the area, so some of the money is going to have to go to regrading the bar ditches after putting in a 4-foot wide sidewalk. And at the intersections of the roads we're going to cross, we'll put ADA ramps and stripings as necessary. Quick overview. This highlighted section is what we shared with Tarrant County to show the actual serviced area. And so you can see primarily the sidewalks that are going to be with the $150,000 grant that Tarrant County would award to Kennedale. We would be able to install sidewalks from the western limits of Third Street, that is North Road, all the way over to Municipal Drive, and that should be able to be serviced with the project. And with that, I stand for any questions or comments from anyone to discuss this anymore. Really, this was a formality that we need to get back to Tarrant County to keep Kennedale eligible for these grant funds.
Any questions?
I just got a quick question. You said a 4-foot sidewalk. Isn't ADA supposed to be 5 foot?
So with the 4-foot sidewalks, there's a lot of driveways that are going in between here. So you are correct that per ADA standards, every 200 feet, you have to have a 5-foot by 5-foot turnaround. So if there is not a location in which we can utilize a driveway to give that ability, we will have to put in a 5-foot by 5-foot turnaround. With what I was looking at, and again, this is just a quick proposal of how we got this broken out. I was trying to best utilize all the funds of the $150,000, get the largest linear footage as possible without also having to drive up the cost and put a lot of City of Kennedale budget into a project that could potentially just be grant money. So that's, again, kind of a public feedback that if it doesn't seem that 4 foot is as desirable, that's something that I think we could maybe adjust if that aligns with Kennedale staff's needs.
Thank you.
One quick question. This won't have any bump outs or anything coming out of the street, right?
No.
No, this
Just
is
play the sidewalk.
correct. This
Just
will
like
just be
this.
sidewalk. We're not going to take away anything from the street. It's really just going to connect to the edge of it. And one of the things that I mentioned was the regrading of the bar ditches. So it's going to condense the bar ditch some, but we're going to regrade it to ensure that water is still flowing adequately. If anything, they're going to be reshaped and regraded appropriately they look, some of them look a little overgrown and outdated for the bar ditches. So they should be getting some improvements along with this project as well.
And how many linear feet are?
It was from North Street to Municipal Drive. I have measured approximately 1,175.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just to expand on Councilman Michael's kind of line of questioning, which side of the street you're going to do?
Yes, I did not. I don't know if I put the, yes, in the second bullet point, we are looking at doing the southern side of Third
Southern
Street.
side. Okay, I was a little concerned with the north side because there's a lot of condos and houses that are really close to the front there.
Okay.
And then I would expand on Councilman Michael's concern about 5 feet versus 4 feet. I think we've kind of decided recently as a council that we wanted the 5 feet moving forward, but I understand if we can cover it at 4 feet, I get that. So maybe an estimation on both if we get the grant.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's something that will be looked into as well. Yeah.
And then from, when are they receiving the applications, when are they going to decide?
Well, so application was due in December and we got that taken care of. And we had to, City of Kennedale had to hold a public hearing on this project before May, I believe. There's some time frame. So we're hitting the criteria for holding the public meeting. And I think end of May is when awarding of the grant could be the earliest.
I think it's May 27th.
And this is the Commissioners Court that does this, right?
What?
Commissioners Court that's going to decide the grant? Yeah, yeah.
The Tarrant County Planning, CDBG department.
Okay.
So Tarrant County has their own department that oversees these. And
Yeah.
I believe this is the 52nd year of this program. So it's on a rolling basis. It was quite interesting. One of the first times I knew that Tarrant County did this was getting to work with Christian on this. And about half the cities get it on odd years and the other half of the cities get it on even years. So City of Kennedale will be eligible again in 2028.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, just to elaborate on this program, it covers water, sewer, pavement, street lights. But when, like Riley alluded to, we need to meet some threshold between being population and income salaries. And the only project we could come up with to meet those criteria was the sidewalk. We couldn't get a water project or a sewer project or a street project to meet this criteria and to be in the same geographical area that the map shows out that we have to fall in. This was the only one that we could come up with that we could say, okay, we could give it a shot for a grant.
And because it's ADA compliance program, we'd have to make sure the grading for the ingress and egress on the sidewalks is just right with the little lines to prevent.
Correct.
slipping.
And so with this 150,000 grant, it's going to go for construction, surveying, engineering, and going out for a contractor. And all of those funds will be applicable to be reimbursed with this grant money.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
And we will close the public hearing at 6:25 PM. So next, we've got an additional public hearing to consider PZ case 2601, a proposed zoning change from Old Town 4 to C2 General Commercial District for 444 East Kennedale Parkway. And we will go ahead and open this public hearing at 6:26 PM. And we'll allow comments here after the presentation.
Do you want to go to this one? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a rezoning request on a property along Kennedale Parkway. The current property zoning is OT4. They are requesting a C2 zoning. This is a straight zoning request, 1-to-1. So there are no conditions or anything of that nature that would be appropriate in this particular case for you to add on to this. And so just quickly letting you know where this is at, here's a picture of the location and the sort of a street view of the building that's in question. Indicated this is on the sort of, I guess you'd call it the west side of Kennedale Parkway. Here's a bit further information on the location where that's at. I'm going to go ahead and go to the slideshow portion of it so it looks a little bit better. It goes, there's a little bit better. See a little bit better there. So as you can see, this indicates the location of the property in question. This is the location as it is looked at, and it is presented in the future land use plan. It's the zoning of the property. As again, that brownish area is the OT4. You'll see the reddish area is a C2, and then you'll see across the tracks you've got some residential areas, et cetera, down there. So this is the property in question is sort of at the edge, as you can see, of the OT4 area right next to an additional property that's C2 currently. Again, this is the current future land use plan, which is adopted. And as you can see, this is one of two areas on the land use plan, which is identified for what is called a transit-oriented development, right? So, and again, that's the basic action here. I will let you know that the Planning and Zoning Commission looked at this request and they recommended denial on this unanimously. Staff's recommendation is denial as well at this point. Effectively, that's a technical recommendation, primarily because the use that's proposed does not comply with the future land use plan. It's not incorporated. This would not be a kind of a use that is envisioned within that specific area. Now, interestingly, when the land use plan was adopted as a part of the comprehensive plan, in most cases, we have a specific zoning district or a number of zoning districts that directly relate to these area designations on the land use plan. That's typically true. There has not been yet in Kennedale a specific zoning district created for a transit-oriented development, okay? So we have some descriptions of that kind of a use in our comprehensive plan, what it should kind of look like, what kind of uses would be appropriate for it, but we have not yet adopted a specific district for it. So for example, in commercially designated areas, you have a number of different commercial zoning districts, right? In industrial areas that are shown on the plan, you also have an industrial zoning district, right? For the areas that would be Old Town, you have specific Old Town districts. This is part of the normal process of a planning effort in a comprehensive plan, is to go in after the plan has been adopted and create these zoning areas or zoning districts as an implementation tool, okay? This is an area that is primarily commercial. Generally, this where the specific site is located at. There's a lot of low-level buildings, a lot of commercial activities. There's also some undeveloped areas in this particular area. So there's a current business that's on the site. The business does primarily servicing for fuel centers, various things of testing, et cetera. They don't have a lot of storage of fluids and things of that nature. They don't have underground tanks or those kinds of things there. So if you drove by this place and looked at it and were just sort of saying, hey, what are they proposing here? They want to build a fairly large storage building, if you will, to enhance their current operations. Driving by it today, you wouldn't think that this would be something that would sort of stand out as you as automatically being sort of not compatible with the area, right? It's a business that doesn't have a lot of in and out large trucks, those kinds of things. You wouldn't think that if this business expanded by itself, it would sort of just prompt you in your mind to say, ooh, that's a terrible idea to put that based on what's in the area, right? It seems to kind of fit with the area to where it's currently developed, right? And so the problem that we have here from the staff's perspective is that it doesn't match the land use plan. And that's typically one of the things that you ask when anyone is asking for a new zoning. Well, how does this zoning change look when you compare it to your land use plan for long term? Since zoning theoretically is supposed to be forever in essence, right? You're looking at the long-term interests of the community, and does this proposal match that? I can't say that that's true in this particular case. We don't have a zoning ordinance that specifically matches it. On the other hand, like I say, they're right next to a C2 area, right? It's not that kind of a use that would make you think automatically that, yeah, this is a really bad idea. These things are going to be bad for each other. So if you're basing your decision on compatibility today, the answer is it compatible? Yeah. If you're basing your decision on the future land use plan and the implementation of it, your answer might be different, as the P&Z did, looking long-term, 20, 30, 50 years, however long it takes, that the idea for the TOD or the transit-oriented development would be, this would be a location where you would have possibly a rail station, either a light rail station or a commuter rail station, right? Our plan calls for two of them potentially in the community. And that by approving this, would that automatically mean that the land use plan couldn't be adopted? No. I mean, you can always go in and buy the land and knock down the buildings and put a train station in there, right? But by allowing additional development in this area, one of the challenges that could happen is, of course, that makes it more expensive, right? If this was a site, for example, where somebody wanted to put a rail station in, the more you have to buy, right, the more value on the land, the more costly it would be to potentially do that. So it might incrementally or marginally make that more difficult to happen, right? Once again, that's kind of it's sort of a mixed bag, if you will, in terms of the recommendation. Staff's recommendation, I said, is a technical recommendation at this particular point. I will mention that we have not received any comments from the public in favor or against the request, right? So that's important for you to know based on the notifications that we've provided. It's also useful for you to know that in this area, now I didn't have access to this information when I first looked at this site, right? But subsequently, I learned that there was in 2023 an approval of a special exception for a light manufacturing on a nearby property just to the northwest of this site. That's depicted in this graphic right here. That was for RPA Plastics, for a plastic manufacturing building about 50,000 square feet, something like that. So a fairly large operation. That was in 2023. They have not actually constructed that building yet. One thing I will mention to you is that special exception has expired. They expire 1 year after they are issued. When I first came to the city, probably within a month or two, after coming here, the folks there, the RPA Plastics folks, showed up and asked us about moving forward. We let them know that the special exception had expired, and in order to move forward, they would have to reinitiate that, go back to the Board of Adjustment in order for us to issue them a building permit or allow them to proceed. So that's the status of that. But historically, I wanted you to know that that special exception was approved. It's on a nearby adjacent vacant piece of land. So that may be important in your consideration of whether this is an appropriate zoning change at this location. So I can talk a little more at depth if you want about TODs, distances, what their purpose is, if you'd like. Other than that, I can just let you guys go do what you do. We do the public hearing, and I'll be here when you'd like to for any questions you might have about this specific request and its impacts.
Thank you. I think we've got a couple of people signed up to speak. No,
Not on this item.
not on this item. You can sign up, just sign in before you're done. Actually, you can go ahead and speak, just sign in before you leave.
I can do that. Thank you, council, staff. I'm Reed Herdman. I own the property in question, and I also own the business that operates on it. Been a resident of Kennedale most of my life till I moved to Itasca. So in that is what we're truly trying to do is just clean up the appearance of the front of this building. This was kind of a way-by location for our other outfits. We have some offices in Fort Worth, and this was the closest office to the house we grew up in since my dad worked, but honestly, it was just kind of junked out for years. Our plan is, as we've kind of made this in a pseudo corporate office, we've tried to move some of the different holdings company staff moved in there. And so as we've done that, we're looking to expand and add a shop space that we can store all the pipe, the dispensers, everything that sits up front kind of right now. It just really makes that place look ugly, and then put a facelift on the whole building. So the plan is to really use that to kind of clean up. And then there was I think we had a drawing, I should have brought it, but we had a kind of a site plan where we were going to try to put a privacy fence that kind of cut off that back portion there where maybe it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing moving up and down Business 37. So I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Any other speakers? No? All right, so it is 6:36 and we're going to close the public hearing. And while we are in public hearing mode for this, like we did last time, I'm going to go ahead and consider from our items for individual consideration. Let's go ahead and consider ordinance 797, proposed zoning change from OT4 to C2 for 444 Kennedale Parkway. And I will open the floor to council for comments, questions. I did close it.
Ed, can I borrow you? I guess I'm just a little confused.
Sure.
So they want to update the property, which I think I know which one off the top of my head, drive by it every day,
Mhm.
to make it look better, to do storage, and we have to zone change, or they didn't seek out a special exception like their neighbor?
Well, well, in this particular case, the OT4 district would potentially allow the use, but the issue here is really, I think, the architectural standards that would be required for constructions inside the OT4 district. You know, whenever you're dealing with commercial businesses, there's a lot of architectural elements that you would want to put in place. This is basically, as I understand it, a fairly large metal barn type building, if you want to think of it, with a roll-up type door or whatever. And so the issue here really, I think, is that more than anything else.
So
But I can also, and in terms of,
why doesn't this, if we're zoning it to C2, isn't the future land use for the area C2?
no, as I said, indicated in this particular map, let me show you where it's at. The land use here is zoned this little sort of, not pinkish, I would say more of a lavender color, if you wanted to. That's for what's called transit-oriented development, right? So the best way to think of that is a rail station, right? Like you might see on a DART station or whatever, or up in Plano or one of those other suburbs where they have a rail station that comes in, and then typically there is development within about 5 miles of those that pop up at various times. That's what the transit-oriented development is for. It's for a train station and similar kinds of supportable type development, which would be restaurants, apartments, retail, the sales, something like this. So that's what the land use plan currently calls for, which is approved in 2024. Interesting, I will mention to you that the property north of there that had the specific use permit for the plastics manufacturing, the land use plan there was a different land use plan, although it also called for, I think it was an urban corridor, urban village kind of in this area as well. So at that time, when they were requesting the specific exception, the staff at that time had recommended against that. Of course, it was approved by the Board of Adjustment. Does that answer your question, or did it just confuse matters a bit more?
I personally don't remember being on the future land use committee with two other council people on this that's up here right now. I don't remember this area being the train stop. I remember this being the C2, the whole corridor being C2 up to the industrial park. And that's why I guess where I'm just a little confused about, it needs to be C2 is my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's your discretion as the council is to make that decision. I just wanted to make sure that you have all of the facts in relationship to this so that when you make your decision, you can be confident in that.
So all that pink around there is one of three that we have, 3 locations in our city.
Well, there's if you want to think of them generally, there's 2 locations, right? For a transit-oriented development. When you're thinking about transit-oriented development, you're not just thinking about the rail station itself. You're thinking about the rail station and adjacent property nearby that would be complementary to that station. And depending on the type of rail that you're dealing with, if it's a light rail, you're talking, you know, the station themselves typically take anywhere from 1 to 1.5 acres. If you're talking about a commuter rail, which I think is probably more likely, then you're talking about a station that can go anywhere from 3 to 5 acres in size. And then you have adjacent development that is in close proximity, typically within 5 miles on a commuter rail, for example, which is complementary to that justifies the expense of that rail. So you're talking, you know, high density in some ways, buildings, restaurants, entertainment venues, things that you might think of in terms of people, you know, the park and ride kind of thing. I mean, transit-oriented development doesn't have to be a rail. It can be a bus station, right? But in this particular case, you got a rail right there. That rail is very close to a major arterial in both places. So these would seem to be logical locations for that. And if, depending on what kind of rail you have, if it's a light rail, usually you're going to have a separation between them, about 1 mile to 1.5 miles on a light rail. You're going to go no less than 2 miles on a commuter or heavy rail type situation. So realistically, these spots are about 1 mile and 1.7 apart, 1.8, depending on whether it's a straight line or whether you follow the rail. So if it was a light rail that ultimately gets built, you could conceivably have 2 of them in Kennedale. If it is a commuter rail, you're probably only going to get 1 of those. Of the 2 stations that are shown in your plan, you're likely only going to probably have 1 that would be viable. depending on what the economics are at that particular time.
Okay, so explore two options with me. They currently hold the property, so it's not a purchase.
Yes, they own the property as far as.
They're wanting to utilize it more into what the business owns, which
Yes.
is extra storage.
Yes,
But they want to update the property.
Yes.
So could they explore the exception on the BOA? And would it change anything or do anything beyond for the special exception? I know it's
I got a quick question I want to add to this too. It's Old Town Forum, so this business is, how long y'all been in business?
Yeah.
2001. So 2001, when y'all bought that property, it was C2, right? And then the city came in and changed it to Old Town 4. So are they conforming at Old Town 4 with the business? So they're not.
I did not explore that question. I'd have to look at that
Okay.
up real quick.
So their business that they have right now is Old Town Forum, but it's non-conforming.
Once again, I don't know the answer to that question.
That's correct.
That's correct? Okay.
But at one time it was conforming.
Till
Yeah.
the city
Yeah.
came in and changed it into Old Town 4. All right.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Michaels.
So, and like I say, there's
Cleared up.
advantages and disadvantages to either decision you make. Obviously, if you would approve this change, then they would be able to expand the building and add value, so you get ad valorem tax increases because of that. So it's really a question of whether, in some ways, whether you think it's more important to preserve that future land use plan, or whether you believe the expansion of the current business and allowing them to move forward, which of those values is more important.
I mean, I think we should utilize the future land use plan. Even future council, it's just a way we can put our dream down the road and make sure we can see it. But I don't see how this is anything different than what it is, except for it improves the property, which is what your department's been trying to do for the last 5 years,
Sure.
which they've done a wonderful job.
Sure.
I'm
And
just not seeing that this would even interfere with the future land use by making it conforming, updating the property, and continue the current use. I know you're saying it's a technical.
It's kind of a marginal thing. It's one of those things, it's not a perfect match.
Yeah.
It's like, would you really think of this kind of a business at this location? Given my knowledge of what they do, I don't think so. And it wouldn't automatically mean the TOD couldn't happen. Certainly it could.
Sure.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of things
No,
that
the
could happen.
study is to move it to a C2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for my time.
Mr. Mayor, can we just ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Are we still in a public hearing?
No, we're considering it now. We're potentially taking action.
Does anybody have anything else, or are we ready to take action?
Any other questions from the council? Then I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we consider ordinance 797 to change from OT4 to CT2 for 444 Kennedale Parkway. Do I need to read the rest of it?
You do not. Do we have a second?
So I will second it, sorry.
All right. And is everybody set up? We'll try this way first. So council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, it's not showing up on the screen, but it has passed 4-0.
Okay. The motion passes unanimously. All right. So, council, do you need a break or do you want to move back into? Let's take a short break. It is 6:46 and let's take a 5-minute break. All right, it is 6:57 PM. We're going to go ahead and reconvene, and we're going to stay with our items for individual consideration. And we're going to start with item number one, Kennedale FD contract providing fire and EMS services to Tarrant County ESD District 1 for fiscal year 26. And City Manager Hull has requested that we table that, which would be to next month's meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
There's more negotiations that need
Okay.
to be followed up with the fire, Tarrant County Fire.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we table fire department contract providing EMS service to Tarrant County ESD1 district till next meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, and I guess council cast your votes.
Sir, the motion has passed 4-0.
All right, very good. Moving on, number two, multipurpose fields contract with Speed Fabcrete. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, sir. Thankfully, we have come up with the 50% design. We have Speed Fabcrete. Mitch is here to be able to do a presentation to you to show exactly that, what the 50% design and ultimately the price tag that goes with that. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised of what they have to offer and what we're able to do with the general bond information and money. Mitch? Alan, we'll take both of you.
Sorry. And do I need to say that again? We have worked to develop 50% drawings for the project so that Speed Fabcrete could put a real price on it. And we have pretty much stuck with the plans that we brought back to you months ago, but developed several things about it. The main thing that I wanted to do is just give you a little bit of overview, just to say what you asked for and what we're trying to provide, and that is to upgrade these fields and this whole complex that you can have programs here. One of the things that we felt like was very important was providing a sense of presence and a sense of the place and arrival, and that's why we moved this concession restroom building to the parking lot side of the building. If you've been out there, you know there's a restroom building kind of pushed back, a couple little sheds, and then the concession building up front. Really, you can't tell where you've arrived or anything about it. So this will give this park a place. When people arrive, they would walk through the building actually to get to the fields, and there would be security so that you could actually have ticket events here if you wanted to and have people be controlled. But for the most part, they'd show up on a Saturday morning for soccer games. And that's the main purpose here is we put a large utility field in the middle of the park that can be striped in various ways. You see it here was striped in 2 small soccer fields. Those are the smallest soccer fields for the smallest kids. But you could stripe it the other way and have a more intermediate field. So you could do various things here. The other part of the project was the refurbishment of the baseball field and the t-ball field. You probably know that where the soccer fields was it was a larger baseball field. That's been eliminated in this plan. And then the smaller baseball field would be good for both softball and baseball, and then the t-ball field for t-ball. And so we tried to develop it so that it is really a place people spend their whole Saturday morning. As any of you have ever done, that's what happens. So there's places to sit, there's places to watch the kids. But the main thing is we wanted you to have a place that Kennedale be proud of, that the citizens of Kennedale would want to participate in, and that's what we've been able to develop with the city staff. I mean, they are the ones that are driving what the project is, and we think it's very special. It can be a very special place. And so Mitch is going to get into the nuts and the bolts of it, give you the prices so you can understand what you're going to get and what it's going to cost.
How do I scroll to the next item?
You just hit the button.
Which
You
button?
can scroll the wheel too.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, so as Alan's already said, the primary responsibility that y'all gave us when y'all selected us as your design build team was to enhance or actually redevelop the concession stand, restroom areas, parking lots, and create 2 soccer fields. The ball fields were secondary on the list, so the primary is what you see in the slide. If you'll look to the north or the top of your page, all that paving gets refurbished, and that means basically cleaned up and seal coated. And I'm sorry, let me just back up go a little forward. I'm going to give you a summary of everything that's in the project, but I don't want to wear you guys out and take up all your time discussing all the nuts and bolts. So I'm just going to kind of give you a verbal overview, but it's in your booklet and you can read it at your leisure. But back to this particular slide. So what we're going to do is eliminate the ball field, the big ball field, regrade that area, and bring in turf to create 2 soccer fields, which can be manipulated into 8 soccer fields for smaller play and what have you not. It will be lighted. It will be irrigated. The concession stand area, if you look at everything that's in the light brown, that's all new concrete sidewalks and paving for the handicap area and the access area around the concession stand. And then, like I said, the rest of the existing paving will be cleansed and then seal coated. We are going to put a concrete curb around the entire perimeter of the existing asphalt to keep it from deteriorating in the future. And one of the considerations was staff said that the public has a tendency to cut through the parking lot to the left-hand side of the screen. And so, we're going through some efforts there to create curbing in that area so that can't happen. And so that would eliminate the racetrack cutoff if you've been out there before. So then back to the concession stand and the restrooms. Those will be emulating essentially what you've done over at Sonora Park with the pavilion and the restrooms over there. It'll be the split face block look. It'll have the glulam beams, standing seam roof over the higher pitched roof, and then the restrooms will be all vandal resistant stainless steel wall hung type fixtures. Now this slide here kind of shows a general overview that, yeah, I kind of zeroed in on the soccer field and the initial package. And then we'll go next to the ball fields, what we can do with the ball fields. And then I'll sum up everything with pricing information. So phase one, as I would call it, is again, the concession stand, the parking lot, and I failed to comment about the landscaping, everything there. If you look at it in detail, there's a lot of tree work, grass work, and what have you not around the sidewalks and outside perimeter of the building. That's all in compliance with the city ordinance of landscaping requirements. Yeah, going the wrong way. And that was the write-up that I was I gave you a 2-second version of that. And if y'all want to get into those bullet points, we can talk about those. But for time expedience, I'm just going to roll past that unless somebody wants to get technical. So the second challenge is if we can do all the things that we proposed to do in the first phase of this project, what could we do to enhance the ball fields? The ball fields are they're playable right now. A good Saturday workout with all the dads and everything could make them functional, but a lot of volunteer work, a lot of hard work just to get them functional. So we were challenged with how do we take that out of the equation? What can we do as a very minimalistic approach to these fields? And that would be to come in there, and I'm going to show you this next slide. The darker green, if you look to the left, that is what we're calling the U12, 12 years and under, because it's our understanding that that's what will be played out there by the YMCA. And the one to the right will be the T-ball fields. So the under 12, the dark green area, that would all be resodded, regraded. Everything in the brown will be removed, reworked, and that's all going to be a clay-based path, infield. And then we'll, just right on the outside edge, about 6 feet around that edge, there's currently a lip just from all the age and years of running the bases that we've got to take out. And so we're going to cut out that 6-foot edge there and put in new turf there. So the lighter green would remain the existing field. And so in addition to just reworking the infield, if you will, and cutting the vines and what have you not out of the backstops and the fencing, and then going around and just doing remedial work on the fencing, not trying to replace it, just fix what needs to be fixed. Hang with me for one more minute. Right off that one, bless. And the last thing that we would do, it was requested that in the under 12 field that we put a set of bleachers directly behind the home plate and put in a shaded area. The other areas for the bleachers will remain as they are currently. But that's the one addition and the improvement to the bleacher systems. So that's your very, very basic. We do that to both fields. Then we can take it to another level. We go ahead and the outfield areas, completely replace those with new turf and then irrigate the entire fields. And replace all the fencing to make basically the fields as new. What would remain is the existing bleachers, the existing dugout, concrete work and seating, but all the fencing and backstops and what have you not would be all new. So the appearance would essentially be a new park. So if you go to your second to your last sheet, that's where the rubber meets the road. What does all the stuff cost? So to go through that first phase that I described to you, we'd be looking at $2,314,112. And I didn't round off, obviously. So again, that would get the soccer fields, the lighting, the concession stand, restrooms, paving, the works on phase one. And then when I talked about the two different scenarios on the fields, you'll see that I'm calling them alternate 1A, basic field option. And that was for just working the infields and patchwork. Option B is to take it the full distance. You go ahead and replace all the fencing and all the turf. And then the next line item is and again, that would be a choice of $145,000 worth versus $289,000 to do all the field work. If we want to irrigate those fields, and you may or may not, these are just decisions. We want to give you guys all the power to say, yeah, let's go this far, this far, this far. So we broke out the irrigation of those fields. So if you want to irrigate both those fields, then it's an additional $66,000. Lighting of the ball fields, what we're currently looking at on the ball fields is you have lighting out there. We don't know how adequate or how good that lighting is. Obviously, it's old. Somebody had to turn the lights on and figure out how many bulbs are out. What we asked our mechanical engineers to do is to take a look at those existing poles. We see no reason to take the poles down, but to put new lighting on it. And, all of this, of course, is LED type lighting. And we can do that for the $195,000. And that's what it takes to light those two fields. And we are looking at some value engineering on that presently and trying to see if there's maybe a better way to do that. But that's what we're looking at right now based on the drawings that we have at hand. And the last alternate, and I don't know that I have a good depiction of that. I think I might. It's kind of hard to see in this plan, but if you look to the far right, there's a parking area that's right behind the T-ball fields that leads to the bridge that goes over to the Sonora Park proper. And that material is degraded to the point that you can't resurface it. I mean, it needs to be topped again. So we've given you an alternate to come in and asphalt that parking lot if that's something you want to do as well. So what questions might you have?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed a lot of, for example, it says bring new soccer field area up to grades and provide drainage channels around the field as shown. I know I've talked to some of the people who live up there. They are already having flooding issues. How will all of this potentially impact those neighbors in that area?
Well, Mr. Winters had expressed concern. He called me one day. I know him from way back when, and he asked, during this process, are there some things that we can do for them to alleviate some of the flooding that they have on the other side of the road? And nothing that we're doing really affects that side of the road. Daryl and I went down and looked at the conditions as well. We will have a slight improvement on our side because, where we're putting that curb in for the, let me back up there. Okay, what did I do wrong, guys? Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get to that parking lot right there. Okay, yeah. Okay. I can't find my cursor. Where is it? I'm gonna let you take over. trying to get up to that S curve. Yes, sir. The area across the road from us is the area where you have several residences that are concerned about right now, presently, what you have is bar ditches in that area that have basically filled in. And when that water comes down off that hill, it runs in their yards and doesn't get across the road quick enough. And that's outside the scope of this. It's kind of on the other side of the road. So I would defer that to the Public Works Department.
So will any of this make that situation worse?
No, absolutely not. Nothing we're doing.
It should be an improvement.
Okay.
Currently, there's no ditch where that parking lot is on the left. There's no ditch. So you can go out there and look at it. If you get
I have.
on the the north side, you can see the flow, the sheet flow. What he'll come out and do is put a a curb that will now direct it to the ditch, which then will cross over valley and actually go down where it should. Sorry about that. They'll also come in and curb the road where currently you don't even know if once you get to that 90-degree turn, you don't even know there's a road there. Once they're done, you'll see an actual road.
My other question had to do with, it says under concrete asphalt patches needed for tie-in to existing. How long do you anticipate that patch will last?
Well, that particular statement refers to where we're pouring concrete and matching up to the existing asphalt. So that's not a where issue. I think your question is probably more related to the existing asphalt that you have everywhere else that we're going to resurface or actually, just put a seal coat on. And I couldn't tell you that. I don't have an answer for that, ma'am. It's existing. What you're trying to do is clean it up and extend its existing life without spending the money on it.
Excuse me.
We're trying to cure what we know is broke, and what's not broke, we're trying to make it last longer.
So first of all, I want to say I appreciate the design on the where the bathrooms are. It looks like Midlothian's design, which is my favorite in DFW out of all the parks I go to for football and baseball and things like that. So I do love that design. My biggest question, I guess, is the ground underneath this. My concern
Is the what?
is the ground underneath this whole area.
Mhm.
My concern is it's old. It's been, the nutrients been sucked out of it. What's underneath it that will affect our grass in 10 years? That's my biggest question. Or the
Well,
regrade. Is it just clay down there or?
Well, no. We've done soils tests out there. We actually brought in a consultant on the infields and got their recommendations on reworking the soil and analyzing the soils. And if we get into the details on the two fields, you'll see that one infield requires less of the clay mix than the other field because of what they found there. And in terms of the building, we did soil testing down to 25 feet, I believe, to determine what's there and how the soils will react and what kind of foundation to put under the building. So we've addressed that. Back to the last question I think you would have is in the outfields, what do we have? Well, yeah, you just got your old dirt. And if you resod it, you could bring in layer sod. And that's just conditioning, and that's just a lifetime commitment of bringing in nutrients, aerating the soil every season. I mean, depending on how far you want to go with this, I don't know how to describe it other than you can put your heart and soul in it and it can look like Wrigley Field, or you do nothing at all and it looks like it does right now. I mean, it's a labor of love. You've got to rework it, and not to. I love grass fields, and everybody's moving back away from the turf fields, but that's why we went to turf fields, because you didn't have to do all those things.
It sounds like you have the same concerns as I do.
Sorry?
Sounds like you have the same concerns as I do.
Yeah.
Could you send me a copy of that?
I'm sorry?
Could you send me a copy of the soil testing you guys did?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would. I'm actually a geology nerd. I would love to read
Okay.
that. My other question is where is the seating on the soccer fields?
I'm sorry?
The seating on the soccer fields.
And this is not a smart aleck question, but in your trunk.
Okay.
Parents bring their fold-up chair.
Yes.
And that's just the way you do soccer.
So both north side and the south side.
Well, the problem is, talking to the YMCA folks, they wanted the flexibility. Originally, this was designed with just two fields, just as you see, and we had drainage going down the center of it. We had our lighting oriented differently, and then when we got into further discussions with the YMCA folks, they said, no, we need to be able to break this field up into many different fields and smaller configurations. And so we opted for a sheet flow. And again, in our original design, we actually had some areas that you could stack up and sit on the sides. And, but again, because they want to run the operation, it's going to be very flexible. They've got their own chalking machines and it could lay out differently every weekend for all we know. But yes,
Okay.
Being a soccer dad,
Yeah,
I carried my
get it.
fold up for about 15 years. So
Okay, and then finally, I appreciate you breaking down the totals like this, like
Yes,
the way
sir.
you did. So it's 2.3, but if we want all the bells and whistles, I'm coming up to 2.9 as some.
Yes, sir.
We're still
Correct.
within the $3 million bond budget.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Great job.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Other questions?
So just out of curiosity, so the earthwork that's mentioned, I'm glad Councilman Nevers asked a question around the grass because I was reading that as you were going to regrade the entire field, bring in fresh soil for everything, but that's not what's in scope of this, correct?
No, sir. Well, in the base, when we're just talking about the $2.3 million, what would happen there is, again, those fields, the existing baseball field will be demolished and everything associated with it. And we'll regrade that. And those two fields are going to be what they call sheet graded or sheet flowed as far as the water goes. And that's going to go from this lower left-hand corner to the upper right-hand corner, so that they had the flexibility to turn those fields all different ways so that we don't have a valley or anything that's carrying the water out. And so that will all be regraded with existing materials. And then we will bring in a sod. And so it will have 1.5 inches or so of its own sod with it.
Okay, so the earthwork and scope here is just to get the drainage correct. It's not the landscaping, that's the other line item.
Correct. But then when you look at your options on the baseball fields, then when we give you the option for returfing, then you are getting some sod with that, obviously.
And Councilman Nevers, where did you see the 2.9 million at?
I added it up. So if we pick option B, the one that will fully park, which is the one I would recommend, and then add up all the alternatives, 1,
plus
2, 3, or
everything else
4.
on there.
Yeah, it comes about 2.9.
Yep. And actually, if you take the option B and total it up, it's 2,945,868.
So we do it perfectly the way we've been asking for. It's going to be 2.9.
And does the 2-year warranty, does that cover the sod?
I'm sorry?
Does the 2-year warranty cover the sod?
Oh, I would say no. That would be on equipment. I mean, this is your building. It's building warranty. As far as covering the sod, that comes down to an owner. Usually, as far as the landscaping goes, it's usually typically a 1 year on your plants and everything. If a tree dies, then we come back and replace the tree, replace the shrubs. But there's a handoff in this, and y'all are responsible for watering, and that's one of the, just being real candid, that's one of the big debates as far as landscaping. Did y'all follow the procedure? And you will have a handover and instruction from our landscaper. This is what you need to do. This is the watering regiment you have to follow. And if you don't follow it, then if we come out there and every plant's dead and they hadn't been watered in 3 months, you can't say, hey, where's your warranty? I mean,
We might want to call that out then.
okay. Okay.
Just a quick follow with you, Mr. Hull, on this. So are we to decide the alternatives? Are we going to send this to the Parks Board? Are we going to decide? Are you going to decide it? Once we approve this, how are we going to move forward?
My recommendation, we make a vote tonight to do the 2.945 to have everything completed. Only thing that I would ask that we consider is the parking lot that's by the T-ball. At this point, I do not recommend servicing that. That is an extremely narrow path to get to that east side of the field, the T-ball field. I would rather come in and sod that or put grass in just a park area. Maybe we can come in and put some picnic tables, things of that nature, a pavilion, things that. I think it'll be a good location for that. Or in the future, with the savings that we have, on Sonora Park side by the playground area, we come in and improve some of the parking at that location.
Actually, city manager, I'm glad you mentioned parking again. So I think dragging the existing bleachers, if they're still usable, just drag those over to that other parking lot and close it off because it's a choke point. But I do want to ask, how much of the existing parking lot are we taking over with the shrubs on here? Because right now it's fairly large. Looks like we're encroaching on the parking lot quite a bit in the design. Is that accurate, or is it just the drawing not quite to scale on the top? Because you could get 3 rows of cars in the existing parking lot, but you're showing 2 now.
Yeah, we've narrowed it to just a two sides. And then we've added that concrete plaza out in front of the building as the main entry plaza for the whole facility. So there's a few less cars than are there now.
Okay.
Can you give us an idea of what the parking capacity would be?
That would have been a really good number for me to have off the top of my head, but I do not. I would just have to count them.
Currently, we have roughly around 70 parking spots currently.
So we're looking to double that with the left side?
That's
would
both
be-
parking lots, right?
Yeah, that's for both.
For both.
Both sides. On the Sonora Park side, I'm looking at, we can come in probably add anywhere from 40 to 60, depending obviously how close we want to get to the tree line, things of that nature. I just don't know that. But going out and just doing a approximate measurement, I think we can get anywhere from 40 to 60, maybe a little bit more than that.
City Manager Hall, one other question. The lighting that's estimated to be an add of 195, 210. Do you know anything about the condition of the current lighting and whether there might be some more economical options for that particular item?
My recommendation is to come in with full lighting, all new, all LED, everything matches, everything looks new. If you go out there now, you look at it, the lights look like they was made in 1950.
They were.
So they're due for upgrades.
Yeah, if I recall the lighting, it was hard to find replacements for some of that stuff because it's so old. Like, even the scoreboard itself, we couldn't find light bulb replacements because iridescent light bulbs don't exist anymore.
Yeah, but I think the scoreboards, that's the one we purchased like 6 years ago to the Parks Board, and it's supposed to be a remote. So we'll recycle that, right?
We're not touching the school.
Not touching the scoreboards.
No, sir.
I'd rather see new lighting because those poles have been up since 1977. And the way they make lighting now, less is more.
Yeah,
So-
if we go for the full option, all the lighting will be included,
And new poles.
No, sir.
not the new poles.
Ah.
The
No,
soccer field part will be new.
Right.
So basically, the soccer field would have the new poles. So
New
it
tapered
will have
steel
light
pole.
coming off the soccer field,
Yeah.
field shining onto the baseball field.
No, sir.
Why not?
The approach is well, basically you've got, I think it's 5 light poles that shine on the soccer fields. And then we're going to all the existing poles, and we had the lighting people come out and look at it, and they said, yeah, these things are substantial enough to carry the new light heads. So that's the intent.
Yeah, because I think field 1 has like 5 poles on it. So that's the reason I was wondering, since the soccer fields, they can share and put more light to field 1.
Well, I will defer to my architect on that and see if there's any way we can incorporate that. But as of right now, this is the way it was designed at the 50% range. And we can certainly take a look at that and see if there's some symbiotic relationship there. But we're really counting on those poles that are there.
It's possible that we might could put heads on one or two of the poles and shine them at the soccer field, but to get uniform lighting, we decided to put 4 poles at the utility field, we call it, for the soccer. And
Well, I was thinking, having the soccer fields shine into the baseball fields. And then do away with those poles, the old poles in the outfield.
that's possible, but it may take taller poles. So there's some trade-offs. So we just have to look at that possibility, technically look at it. We have not done that.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, old poles are ugly and you want to get rid of them if all possible. Okay, we'll look into it for sure.
And just to follow up, I counted 97 parking places. That's correct on our drawing.
City Manager Hall, I have another question for you, sir. So the number we're talking about tonight is just for the construction, which means that at some point in the future, we need to look at budgeting for equipping the concession stands, those sorts of things. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Well, just to expand on that, this says that they'll have an ice maker and things like that. What exactly are we equipping beyond that? Because
For instance, if there's, no, go ahead.
Well, what the drawings show currently is some work tables, wash tables, hand washing sinks in the concession stand. So what you would typically have is the need for an ice machine and a refrigerator, freezer, possibly.
well, that'd be nice. And this will be able to lock things down. We've had issues with theft in the past.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
It'll be secure.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. And we've got roll up doors, locks.
And just to throw this out there, we've had issues in the past with people stealing metal out of the wires and AC units. That's all going to be secure as well.
The only AC on the whole project is a mini split that's going to be set up to just, you're really not conditioning that concession area, but you're trying to keep them cool and hot while they're working. So there'll be a mini split in there. But the restrooms are all open air. They have ventilation. If you look at my little write-up, we've got a metal screen. There's basically a clear story that goes around it that allows.
Since we're talking about the restrooms.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming, and I don't know, I haven't seen your concept on it. I've seen the pictures. We're going everything stainless steel.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to have drains in the floor?
Yes, sir.
And then that way it'll be easier for maintenance. They can just come in with the hose, spray it down, let it dry and go.
Absolutely. That's the intent. And this,
All the partitions are CMU walls, the doors are steel, the lavatories and the toilets are stainless steel, the mirrors are stainless steel. It's meant for a guy in a baseball bat to go in there and not be able to break anything.
Okay.
So yes, you'll have your water valve and a spray hose, just go in there and wash the walls down. They'll be sealed and what have you not. That's how I deal with it.
There's actually a chase space between the two sides of the restroom, so all the plumbing is in the chase, so that it's all embedded in the wall. We can heat that one space to keep things from freezing, and the rest of it's just open air.
And he corrected me on that. We do have a heater as well.
Any further questions, discussion items?
So, Mr. Hall, under your recommendation, we want to do alternatives 1, 2, and 3, not 4, which comes up to 2,865,000. Sound about right? Okay,
Alternative 1B.
1B, yes, sir. My last question, I guess, Kenneth and I are really close to this. We want to make sure that we budget in our budget for the future, the excess water we're going to use to make sure the fields are good, the lawnscape that we're going to need, all that. You're looking to this next year's budget to include all that?
That's correct.
Wonderful.
I have one last question. So without the asphalt parking, I think we said 2.8 and some change. So what happens with the rest of those monies? Can
What I
that
would-
go towards some of these other things?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The idea would be able to use those funds on Sonora Park side to increase the parking on the eastern side where the pavilion is currently. So that parking area there is to increase that parking 40 to 60 spots and utilize this GO bond to be able to do that.
Okay.
And any other, if it's refrigerators or anything associated with that, we can utilize the GO bond for it.
There's nothing further. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the contract with the alternatives 1B, number 2, and number 3 for a total of 2.8 million.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And processing. Council, go ahead and cast your vote.
Clarifying question to Councilman Everest. Your motion was for alternative 1B, 2, and 3?
1B, 2, and 3, no 4.
Thank you.
All right, and the motion passed unanimously.
Well, thank you. We'll get to work on the other 50% of the drawings and.
And I
get
think you
apart.
guys were the first one where it actually all worked as it should. So a monumental moment in history. Yes, sir. All right. So we've already
I'm
taken,
sorry, one more question, if you don't mind. Mitch, what is your timeline, if you don't mind, if you can share that? All right, thank you. Thank you, guys.
all right. So we've already taken action on item number 3. This brings us to item 4, resolution number 645, to consider authorizing members of Atmos payment of 4 cents per capita. I think Drew is no longer here. Did we have anybody that was going to say anything, or do we just?
It's our normal membership, our annual membership, which is ultimately the same.
Okay. Any questions, talking points, discussion items? And I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 645 to consider authorizing members of Atmos payment of 4 cents per capita.
And do we have a second?
I will second.
All right. And cast your vote. And the motion passed unanimously, 4-0. And finally, for items for individual consideration, this brings us to item number 5, Briar Court Hillside Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. And City Manager Hull has requested that we table to next council meeting. If anybody would make a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion that we table Briar Court Hillside Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project until our next regular council meeting.
Do we have a second?
I will second it.
And council, cast your votes. And the motion has passed. Well, it's getting faster and faster over there. That's all right. All right, so we're kind of playing musical chairs here tonight. So at this point, we will go back to our presentations. And Elizabeth, sorry to cut you off there earlier. The floor is yours.
I'm stopping his share. So do I? Yeah. Oh, you're gonna. All right, so I have 10 minutes. We'll do 3 of them super fast. So I know you guys are excited. All right, so I'm going to go through the library first. That's going to be our longest one. And obviously this is covering 2025. Everybody has seen the packet, and these are the same mission is the same, the goals are the same as last year, so we don't need to go over them again. Understanding completely that the mission is the same, to serve everybody equally in all of Kennedale and the world. Just throwing that out there. All right, so the goals are the same. We are here to provide excellent customer service to everybody who comes. We're here to be the first choice of the correct and best information for our community. And we are hopefully providing equal access to everybody that comes. Our goal has also been this year to provide access to new technology that people haven't been able to utilize in the past. And I think we're making great strides in that area. The staff, we did have Laura Smith retire this year. She retired at the end of January, and we recently hired Madison Ramirez. She is our new collection and tech services librarian. We were accredited for library accreditation through the state library. This gives us access to the TechShare databases, the TechShare card, which is a card that you can utilize to access libraries over the entire state. We have access to interlibrary loan, which gives you access to books from any library that participates in the country. And then eReads Texas, which gives us access to ebooks, audiobooks, etc., that other libraries can't have because they're too big. So there we go, for being small, a bonus. And then we also get reimbursed for our interlibrary loan shipping costs through this program. So we've also received the Achievement of Excellence in Libraries Award 3 years in a row. And so we're going to keep doing that just because it's fun. All right, here are our numbers. So in library visits, we anticipated this was going to go down because we were closed for almost 2 months during our renovation process. But even with being closed for 2 months, we still had quite a. I'm gonna also throw out a disclaimer that our door counter broke, so I'm gonna blame that a little bit too. But we are on track this year to surpass those numbers, and we did get a new door counter, so they're valid. In terms of our electronic material checked out, that went up significantly. And I think I mentioned this last year, that the trend is that people are gravitating toward these electronic resources. And you can see we had over 2,000 more checkouts over the course of last year. And our budget reflects that as well. We're not actually changing the number on our budget line. We're changing how we distribute it between paper material and electronic material. New cards issued. We issued another 40 brand new cards, so that was awesome. We're doing larger pushes to get cards. One of our biggest things is trying to get into the schools to get more kid cards, so that's a goal for us this year. In program attendance, even though we were closed, we still had significant attendance numbers. You can see we went up both in regular attendance and specifically summer reading attendance. I will do a shout out to Red's Roadhouse because they made it possible for us to do our summer reading program last year, and that's how we maintained those numbers. If we hadn't had that location, it wouldn't have worked for us. Here is a quick list of things that we did. We got our accreditation. We won our achievement award. We received $50,000 from Talker for our transformation grant, $20,000 from Folk, $12,500 from Atmos, $4,000 from HEB, $3,000 from community fundraisers. We installed all new shelving. We installed all of the RFID stickers and tags and machines. We completed the conversion and we converted our programming librarian to our official adult services librarian. So here, I'm just going to do this real quick. If you haven't seen the library, here are some pictures of what it looks like. I included that link on there because we made a video for our grant purposes, so you can see all of the transformation from before and after. Senior Center, same thing, same mission. We're here to provide a place for everybody to connect and be healthy and maintain their positive contributions to society, as well as feel like they have a real solid and good quality of life. And I think we do that at the Senior Center. We had another 350 or so lunches consumed over the course of last year. So that keeps going up. We have, last year there was no breakfast. I don't know if you remember that, but they had cut off doing breakfast. We just got notification last week that they're doing breakfast again. So that's a positive. We had an increase in activities, and I think, you know, for a center of our size to have 500 activities a year that people can participate, I think that's a really good number. So I'm not super concerned about making more activities. I'm more concerned with bringing more people to the activities that we currently have. So we did that a little bit. We got about a 400 increase in activity participation. One thing that's been fantastic at the Senior Center over the last year is we've increased technology access. So people are getting digital technology classes and craft classes. Those have gone crazy last year, and participation in that is always full. So I think it's a reflection of just having things for people to do that are enjoyable and fun, and they come. So here is just a breakdown of last year. I picked a one per month. I do want to highlight that's the new floor. We did that at the beginning of last year. It's been such a long time. It's hard to remember that that's what we did last year, is put that new floor in. So, but as you can see, we have a lot of people that come participate in a variety of activities and field trips, etc. And so far, I think we're heading still in the right direction. I don't know if we'll ever get to the end of that road, because that direction is, there's a lot we can still provide and do for people. In communications, same thing. The idea is that we're providing excellent and truthful communication to our community at all times, and that if a question needs to be asked, they can be rest assured that it is correct and transparent. So we do the same things. We do all of the event marketing. We do the web page, public awareness, graphic design, all of that stuff. We had 1.3 million views on our Facebook last year, and that only went up about 300,000, but still 300,000, that's not bad. On our web page, We had 844,000 as our events, and that went up to 1.1 million as well. So we get a lot more traffic. And one of the things that we have discussed is how to make that more pointed, the activity to the webpage more pointed. And so we're working on plans on how to get people, drive them to the webpage and make sure that what they get there is exactly what they're looking for. Library is still in the top 10, just pointing that out. And then for our events, on this first one, this is Bark in the Park and Kidfish. We had to separate them, so it's a little different than the rest. In 2024, we did it together on the same day, and we had 1,131 during that time frame for participation. But when we split it apart on 2 different days, we had almost the same amount at both of the 2 days. And so we are going to continue to keep them separated, and we anticipate them growing year after year. For the car show, did you guys see the car show last weekend? It was incredibly busy in terms of the number of cars that we had. We had 133 cars registered and a handful that didn't register, and every parking spot was filled. So that was pretty spectacular. So I'm curious to see the numbers. We haven't gotten those numbers yet, but I think that they'll be up. So you can see for the car show, it went up 1,000 practically. And then, you know, I'm throwing out all of these disclaimers about rain days because they ruin your numbers when you do outside events. But you can see for Trunk or Treat, even on a rain day, we had 2,200 people. And then Hometown Christmas, it was actually raining, so I'm going to take that one too. But you see, we still managed to get over 33,000 people to come visit us for the last one. And without rain, I anticipate next year we're going to get way over the 4,300 we did last year. And this is just a montage of different activities we did over the course of last year. Just kind of showing the community coming out and participating. And one of the nice things about all of our events is that we are getting a lot of positive feedback from the community, and they really appreciate being able to have things to do right here at home. So, and that's it. Any questions?
Elizabeth, I have one quick question. How are we measuring the attendance at the events? Because it's just come and go. They're not going through a single check.
No, so there is a software that we're using. It's called Pacer, and it will actually through the EDC. Yeah.
Got it.
Oh,
Thank you.
it was a plug for the EDC right there. Any other questions?
It's tracked through your cell phone.
Elizabeth, your impressions on the expansion of the library? Obviously, it's wide open. It feels bigger.
Mhm.
It looks like you're starting to bust at the seams already.
We were busting at the seams before we actually did the expansion, but I will tell you, it's amazing to have that separation of activity. And the pods and the study room we get a lot of compliments from adults who have been looking for places to just be. And I think that was something that we were lacking in terms of places for adults to be. So. Yeah, and one of the things that has been incredible about this is we can separate the activities, but we can offer more for each side because we have dedicated spaces now. So, however, today I left on my way over here, and it's spring break, so the entire world is at the library this week, and we had an adult craft thing set up in the adult side, and then the chess club was set up right next to them, and then the kids were playing on the kids side, so we filled that thing up really quick. Any more?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're going to hear from the City of Kennedale Annual Court Report.
I don't know how I can follow up someone with 3 departments, but I will try. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm the court administrator. I'm gonna fly by it. If she was able to do 3 departments in 10 minutes, I can finish mine in 5. So same mission statement hasn't changed. Our goal is always to commit protecting rights, providing equal access to justice, and serving our community. A little bit about what we do. We handle all Class C misdemeanors from animal control, fire marshal, code compliance. We also handle all kinds of hearings. This is where the numbers come in. Cases that we set for court, we did have a little bit of a decrease, not much, 6% compared to last year. Court filings, this is where we had a little bit more of a decrease. Let's see here, 34% decrease. A lot of it was just the police department had some staffing changes, so we saw a decrease in that. Financials, because of the decrease in filings, we also saw a decrease in financials, 23%. Warrants, funny enough, we saw an increase. People didn't want to come in and pay their tickets, so we did see a 5% increase in warrants issued. A little bit about what we did. We assisted 2,276 customers. We answered and called 3,077 calls, and we made 2,534. We were awarded the 2025 TMC Traffic Safety Initiative Award for the second year in a row. I just found out that we won it again, so this is the third year that we've won that. So we'll be presented with that as well. We have new court software. Thank you guys for that. It's made a huge difference. We're down one person. Vera left to go to the police department, so this software has come in very handy right now that we are short-staffed. And then we also participated in all the events, just like everyone else, public safety, trunk or treat, National Night Out. We also launched our diversion program this year as well. And then I wanted to show you guys real quick what our software that you guys, does it pop up? I guess you can't see it. Well, if you guys get a chance, if you guys go to our website, you'll be able to see the software that is provided there. You're able to now look up your tickets if you want. You can make payments through there. Anytime that you update your address, your phone number, you don't need to call us. It automatically updates our system. If you get a chance to stop at our window, we also affixed a screen outside of our window. So now defendants can see their documents in real time, sign it, they can get them emailed to them, and we also print them a copy. But that email feature has been really nice because people lose their paperwork and they have access to email now. So we are definitely up with the times. I wish I could just show you that, but if you get a chance, go to our website and take a look at it. Also, we were on the top 10 website hits. Thank you, Elizabeth. The court has increased a lot because of this, so I really appreciate you guys for the software. You guys have any questions?
Bertha, how's the diversion program coming along?
It's good. We've had 2 juveniles set for it. We don't have a lot of juvenile cases here. So we've only had 2 participate, and it worked out well.
And the warrant roundup, how's that going?
It's going really well. This is one of the best years that we've had, thanks to Officer Garcia. He's really made an effort in getting a hold of people, having people come in. I'll be happy to provide those numbers next year.
I'm sure it'll help you.
Really, really good.
Yeah, I heard you're short-staffed. I know you were short-staffed last year with the full staff. Or with these numbers down, with the new software, are we still looking for another position, or are you
Yes.
happy where you're at?
No, we're still looking for a position. The numbers were a little lower last year, but they've increased tremendously this year already. So I think in February, we had the most issued citations in the last 5 years. We're almost hit over 400 citations issued in a month. So we are very busy right now. I can definitely feel it. So we are definitely going to be needing somebody coming in, and we're already looking.
And then how are you doing on space with all the expansion and
We're doing good. We still have the same space that we had before Vera left. So she's still sitting in the back, and we're going to have one in the front, and then of course someone in my office.
Thank you, Vera.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and last but not least,
Good evening. I'm going to go through two departments. We'll do finance and IT. We'll start off with finance. Finance department, proud to say that the finance department, as we are today, have been together longer than any other department at the city. We've been together since, see, November 13th, 2023, so over 2 years. I'm the director, Debbie's still our senior accounting associate, and we have Bridget and Felicia. These objectives haven't changed: provide timely and materially correct financial reports. I'll be providing one of those later this evening. Safeguard the financial assets of the city, ensure those who do business with the city are paid in a timely manner. So major projects, I'm going to go by fiscal year. I know this is calendar year, but finance, fiscal, we're pretty stuck in the fiscal year in our methodology. So our FY24 ACFR unmodified opinion issued by Forvis Mazars. That's our goal every year. We did hit that for 24. Looking forward to doing that for our 25 audit that's about to wrap up. Our FY26 budget, we adopted that in August, 1 month ahead of the state deadline. That's another trend we intend to keep going this year. With our external storage elimination, we destroyed over 200 boxes of documentation that we were paying to store off-site. So pretty decent savings overall on that we'll start seeing going forward. Our payroll shift, you guys approved software. Bertha had mentioned with the court, you did approve a similar package with finance. We shifted our payroll to that software, Tyler. It just allows us to have everything on the same system. And the policy updates, we do the Public Funds Investment Act. We review that every year. And we also updated the purchasing policy to increase the city manager's spending authority. Our goals check-in, this is a snippet from the page in a budget book. I won't read those because we have them up on a chart. So total vendor payments, that's a harder number for us to really project. But for FY25, we were ahead of our target. The one I'm most proud of is the one below that, the ACH payments percentage. So we're almost paying 30% of our vendor payments through ACH. It helps the vendor in that they receive the money faster. It doesn't get lost in the mail, et cetera. It's also a lot cheaper for us, especially as the cost to mail things out goes up. The more we can do electronically, the better off we are. One thing to point out really quickly, that also doesn't mean that we paid 70% check. We also do wires, but we really targeted ACH as a goal. Recognized efforts, the Government Financial Officers Association, we received our ACFR. That's the Achievement and Excellence for Financial Reporting. We awarded that second year in a row. It's not in this presentation because I didn't find out until after our deadline, but we have received the budget presentation 2 years in a row. Just touching on the general fund revenue analysis quickly, the main point on this slide is to show that our dependence on property tax as a source of revenue has declined over the last 3 years. You can see our 25, and these are unaudited, but I feel pretty confident about these. The 48%, that's significantly less. There's a bit of a caveat to that in that we did bring public works underneath the general fund. So the franchise fees that were just going to fund public works, pushing those into the general fund does have an impact on that percentage. And here we can just see the raw numbers behind the chart. Our reserve growth, you can see we've added money to our reserve every year for the past 3 years, again, with 25 being unaudited. But our reserve in days, you can see at 135 days is significantly above what the around 92 that our policy requires. Between FY's fiscal years 22 and 26, what we've been able to do, 9 new personnel, new software for court, community development, and finance. We've talked about the pavement management solution for Public Works. It did help drive some of those budget needs that we had or budget desires that we met in our current budget. And then you can see the list of vehicles purchased there. I'll stop in case we have questions on finance before rolling into IT.
John, you said the audit was almost done. We're gonna make it?
Mhm.
We got 2 weeks, what? 2 weeks?
Well, it has to be presented to the city secretary and city manager by the 28th,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be presented to council.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
to, yeah, we'll be
Well,
fine.
we have to submit it to the state before the 20th, correct?
I have to, the way the law is written, I have to submit it to, the finance department has to submit it to the city secretary and city manager 180 days from the end of the fiscal year. The 180th day for us is March 28th.
Yeah.
Which is a Saturday. We'll have it done by then.
Great. Sorry, that's just the big hot topic in Texas right now.
We're looking to get it done a few days ahead of time, but we do have a plan in place to electronically sign everything and have it done on the 27th, worst case scenario.
On your general fund revenue analysis, that's amazing news, by the way, John. That's great news to see that. Do you predict this trend to continue where sales tax will go up, property reliance will go down?
That's the goal. It absolutely is the goal. As far as going down, I would be more comfortable in stating that we might maintain at 48%, but there's no denying that property tax is going to be our number one revenue source as a city. If we can get below 48%, that would be great. I would just be more comfortable setting a goal of stabilizing rather than trying to push that down.
Follow-up question on the general fund revenue analysis. For the reserve amount, remind me, the 4.7 million for 25, that includes our debt that's waiting to be spent, correct? So the bonds that we've issued, or is that straight cash?
The bond, the funding from the bond goes into Fund 13. This is only for Fund 01, the general fund itself. So any capital projects, when we get bonds, well, I'll say they're funded, those don't go into the general fund because those are for capital projects. Typically, we don't put capital projects in the general fund outside of some road repairs. And we're even moving, we have done vehicles in the past, but we're moving to push those into Fund 5, the capital replacement fund going forward. So the general fund, the idea is this will be a pure operating fund. So we know how much it costs to operate the city without considering some of the larger purchases that we've been doing. On occasion, we do make an exception to that when we're looking at the general fund funding road repair or purchasing equipment. But ideally, this will be a pure operating fund for the city.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'll move on to IT. This will be pretty quick. The finance department took this over recently. This is in partnership with NetGenius. So for those watching online or possibly catching this up later, the city itself doesn't directly have an IT department. We contract those services with NetGenius. Some quick service statistics, and these aren't as impressive as the courts, but nonetheless, there were 756 user-submitted tickets. All of those were closed. 247 automated system tickets. Those were all closed. Total phone time for NetGenius was 7.5 hours, split almost evenly between inbound and outbound calls. Major IT projects, Tyler Deployment Assistance, that's the finance and the court software. The temporary fire station setup, as far as IT goes, they have almost the same capabilities as they do at the permanent station. Had some cabling moves in the library. One of the big ones is moving the server room to a secure and structurally sound area, and I will not publicly disclose either of those locations. A shift to Microsoft 365, so getting us more on a cloud and subscription base rather than having a huge capital expense whenever a new version of software comes out. And honestly, Microsoft is pushing everybody to that model anyway. And the final one that's something we were proud of is NetGenius actually came when we had an emergency management tabletop in this room. We had NetGenius participate also to see how that IT function could benefit the city in the event of an emergency. That concludes both of my presentations. I'll stand for questions about IT, but I am not as technical as you might like, so I'll throw that out there up front.
I'll try to be simple for you, John.
Thank you.
First of all, thanks for the new server room. On behalf of all IT specialists in the world, thank you. Okay, that's an amazing upgrade. One question that we were discussing while doing the upgrades of possibly upgrading the public Wi-Fi, especially for our events. Where are we kind of in that with broadcasting public Wi-Fi in the park behind us?
What I would, just off the top, I don't, priority list, I don't know where that is on a priority list. I know it's nothing that I've talked about recently. There's still some things related to the server room move that we need to work through. There's a few things involving the fire department, the news station, and getting that online that we need to check out. So I can't give a timeline, but it's not an immediate priority for us. We need to get those first two things knocked out before we can expand beyond that.
Okay. Just maybe talk to Net Genus about a quote on that. I think you'd be surprised in how low cost that might be.
If I'm surprised for a low cost, that would be.
Thank you, John.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to move into our updates from the city council, and up first is Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Mayor. So last month, several of us attended or cooked in the Rotary Chili Cook-Off. I'll let Councilman Neverez give the big speech on that. I attended the EDC meet and greet, which was fun to meet some of the local business owners around town and kind of give us a chance to talk to them. And attended the car show this last weekend. Great turnout and just amazing to see everyone show up at our town center. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kobeck.
Other than a lot of phone talking with some business owners about an issue, that's been pretty much it this month.
Thank you. Councilman Michaels.
Had a great time at the Rotary Chili Cook-Off, and of course, Jeff is going to have the big ultimate surprise. I did attend the EDC after-hours business dinner and had a wonderful time at the car show, just seeing all those cars and people there, and a wonderful day. Little windy, but we got through it, so.
And Councilman Navarez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick shout out to Elizabeth and Sarah. Most of the events that we've been going to the last month, I've seen them there. They're the ones usually doing it or arranging it. So I saw the car show. I saw their faces for the car show. That's the most stressed I've ever seen them. But it was a big hit and it was good success. So good job on both of them for doing that. I also went to the EDC after hours. It was actually well attended. We got to meet some new business owners, and I'm excited to even meet some Hispanic business owners during that. So it's good to see that community starting to come out and make businesses in Kennedale. I joined Mr. Hall down at the TML mid-year conference, and I've been working on getting myself on the legislative committee to go fight for city rights in this coming next legislation session next year. They're really going to come after what we can do with taxing and just our general powers as a city. So I'm looking forward to getting on that committee. The car show was amazing, of course. And then I also went to the library for the Woman of Color's presentation for Black History Month. That was great. It's great to have that space. Although it was, it's a small library with all the new renovations, you could do this and still have the library and still have kids on the computers and things like that. So that was really great presentation. And then, of course, the chili supper was a good success. The Rotary Club hosted this. This year, we did $16,000 in fundraising after cost. And so that should either turn into $1,000 scholarships or maybe $2,000 scholarships, but definitely an increase from last year. It was a big success. It was very busy. And then I made some promises last council meeting about how we were going to win. I was going to get a secret family recipe of generations. And I'm happy to say that we won, guys. This was the judge's choice. I think we could have won the people's choice if we didn't run out of chili. We had about half of the trustees. And I know they're going around bragging around the city right now. But I think next year we can take home both. So, and just to kind of put in perspective, that family recipe is my friend's father who passed away. His mother came in town and joined us, and she picked out the chili right away from the 8 and said it was spot on, and we did her husband proud. So I'm really excited. Thanks for
Mr. Glover and Mr. Michaels for helping out and cooking on that. And I just wanted to report that we did it. For the first time since I can ever remember, we won the chili cook-off. And then lastly, Mr. Mayor, just a quick shout out to my wife. 21 years ago today, my friend came over for a St. Patty's Day party and left my girlfriend. And 16 years this Saturday ago, she married me. So just happy anniversary to my wife.
And happy anniversary this Saturday. All right, so the city of Kennedale, Council member Jeff Navarez has been awarded the TML Certified Municipal Official, CMO, designation in recognition of his commitment to continuing education. TML CMO program requires 60 hours of approved training with at least 30 CEUs of in-person training and a minimum of 1 CEU and 5 core competencies, which includes ethics, finance, governance, Open Meetings Act, and Public Information Act. And the Texas Municipal League is a voluntary association of 1,171 cities in Texas. And the city of Kennedale is a member of the Texas Municipal League. Congratulations, Councilman Navarez. And here is a certificate here. And do we want to, how do we?
Sure.
I'm not shy like Mr. Michaels was. But just a quick shout out and a thank you to Mr. Michaels. We've been working on this for a few years. We realized the TMO wasn't keeping track of our records. So the last 6 months, we really worked hard and he kept me in line and in order while I was really busy and we finished it together.
60 hours of training, you can at least get your picture made.
Somebody loves you.
All right, City Manager Hull.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm very proud of our directors and our employees. One, just to start coming here annually and giving you an update of what we've done the past year. I'm very proud of each one of them. It takes every one of them to be accomplished ultimately what our goal is. And that's to serve our community, and they do an outstanding job. And as you can tell, even tonight and next month, you see that we've come to a new standard and we're being recognized for our services, not just within the city, but outside of other state entities that follow our financing. Obviously, our library, our court, our police department, our fire department, they recognize the work we're doing internally as well, and I'm very proud of them. And I look forward to 2026, and I think everybody will be impressed what we do this coming year. So,
Thank you, sir. All right, now, sorry to call on you again so soon. Financial reports for the city and the EDC.
Well, I did mention timely reports, so here we go. So February, I'll just be quick, a little bit under 42% of the year. Our property tax revenues, you see we're at 96.3% of the budget. Last year, we're at 96, so that's a very close trend. Sales tax revenues at 22%. The prior year was at 25, so we're still in pretty good range there. General fund expenditures, We're at 35% of the budget, right at there. Last year, we were at 37.3, so we're trending a little bit ahead. Our fund balance, our reserve is 53%. This time last year, we were at 57, so we're still really, really healthy on that end. Water sewer fund, I always mention they're a month behind, no different this year. However, our water sales at 29%, 29.2, prior is at 29.1, so almost exact. Sewer service, we're a little bit ahead of last year, 40% to 35. With the stormwater fund, 30% this year to 33 last year, still really close. Slightly ahead on our expenditures at 40% compared to 42. And with the EDC, we've done 25% of our budget in sales tax received. The prior year, we were at 20%. We're a month behind on our rental fees in the EDC shopping center, so that skews our numbers a bit on that. So I will pause there for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull for individual consideration? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I will second
And council, please cast your votes. And the,
Sorry, just one point of order question. Did we skip item 2A under the city manager update for Everbridge? Was there something to discuss on that?
Yes, if you don't mind. Good catch.
Sorry, point of order. There's a question. Can you go ahead and finalize the question, Mr. Mayor, before we move on?
that the motion passed unanimously to pass the consent agenda. Glad to serve. Mr. City Manager.
Chief Pearson. He's going to give an update on our software for notifications.
I bring these glasses up with me every time. You have to put them on, I guess. I put a little PowerPoint presentation together with the help of Everbridge, just to kind of explain things a little bit further. Okay, glasses. I apologize. Okay, just to go through what Everbridge is about, why we have alerts. And Everbridge is the system that the city of Kennedale utilizes. We've had it for several years to do public notification of emergency situations or weather alerts. And really just anytime we need to give out an important message to the public. The system works through the National Weather Service. When they put out a weather warning, it'll come across and notify whoever signs up. And we encourage every citizen to sign up for it, to get the weather alerts through their phone, text, email, or push notifications. And just like I said, there's different methods of the way you can sign up to get those alerts. It is also used if we have a road closure to talk about, or a gas leak, or we're doing an evacuation, we're able to send out a message to the public as well from our desktop, and put whatever message we need to send to keep people updated on whatever the emergency is or the important message. And really it depends on everybody to sign up to get that message. But when it's a critical situation, they have a database of all the cell phones, of all the technology out there to notify, and it would just pull up everybody that's in the area to be able to send it. It takes about a minute to enroll, but actually it's more like 2, 3, 4 minutes. Just depends on what you run into as you go through the different steps of it. And this is what I'll show you tonight as we go through. Oops. We have posted it on the main page of our website today to where you can click on the link that's there to sign up. Or I brought information that's on the table. You can pick up my card and the paperwork that you need to kind of follow the steps of signing up. And as we go through the rest of this month, I'll be available to help citizens, anybody that's watching this at home, if they have some difficulty with it, simply just call me or email me and I'll arrange to help them through it. The one thing that is most important that I found out last week at an emergency management meeting is that the state of Texas has decided on April 2nd, they're going to do a state alert and to test all systems, including all systems that are regionally done. It's going to be on April 2nd between 10 a.m. and 12:30. And the goal of that is to see that everybody's system is working, to go through and just make sure that no one gets missed when they send out a call. And it also gives us that practice to make sure that we can send a message out. So it builds the confidence of each city that has the ability to send out messages to see that it gets done properly, and then find out, get feedback from those that either didn't get a call and wonder why, or just that basically they received. Now, the state of Texas is probably also sending alerts, so there may be more than just one message that we get. So similar to like an Amber Alert, you're going to get that kind of notification. And there will be more to come on this test. They want us to start putting it on social media, on our website, that 2 weeks out, which is going to be Thursday, we want to send the message out that we're going to be doing a practice test. And then 1 week out, then the day before, and you're going to see those notifications on social media that we're about to do a test. So we will test our Everbridge system. And again, the key takeaways is that we test the system. We can see that it's working. Also statewide that it's working and nothing conflicts with the other. So Arlington will be doing their warning sirens. We will hear those because depending on what part of the city you're in, you can hear Arlington sirens, but that's the main thing, is that all of this is a test. One thing the state has mentioned that if we have weather that's near the area or possible weather, they're not going to do the test. And now that's just for our area. We will decide that, okay, we're not going to send one out. My information is there. Again, I'll be doing more talks out there with the public and just doing continued Facebook posts to remind them of the test and also encourage them to sign up. I do have forms out there on the table as well that you can pick up and share with your neighbor or whatever to contact me, and we can go through it together to get them signed up. The weather alerts are a big deal. You know, everybody's got an app of some sort to monitor the weather, but as you know, we've had some severe thunderstorm warnings out, the wind advisories, all those things you can choose how to set up and what you want to receive as an individual. I'm going to close this and hopefully go to just show you our website where that sign up is. Sorry, I didn't have this prepared for us. So here's our main page of the website, our Kennedale website. And if you scroll down, we have this emergency alert area. We also have this placed under the fire department page. So if you missed it here, you can go to fire department, scroll down, you'll see the sign up button. But when you just click on it, it's going to take you to an area to sign up for emergency alerts and weather information. I won't be able to go further, too much further past here, because as you sign up, you create an account for yourself so you can manage how you want alerts. And this is where I don't mind getting the phone call or the email to help explain it further or help a person through it to get signed up. But you do get to the page here, and then you click on getting started. And this is where it's going to pull up that it wants me to sign in. Let's see if it'll take me. Putting in my phone number. And so it confirms it's a person, and then I'll say, text me a code. And at that point, it didn't accept me. Great.
It thinks you're a bot.
But you'll get the code. If you do your email, you're going to get the code through your email. And the purpose is to verify that that's actually you given that number. And it'll go through, and then you'll just continue going through the steps. But actually, all it is notifying it. You sign up by email or your cell phone, and you go through the process of choosing what alerts you want on the weather. And then otherwise, you're just in the database logged, and we're able to send you messages. Should it not be a weather event, we want to notify you of a road closure because of a gas leak, then we'll be able to send out that kind of message. And to my knowledge, it hasn't been done in some time. We've had it for years, but just looking through the history of what our notifications have been, it's been just that. There was a winter weather one that was done by Chief Brown years ago. So that's about it. I do want to help everybody sign up, so we'll get that information out there and help everyone through the process. Any questions on Everbridge? Okay.
Thanks, sir.
It wasn't quite detailed enough, but it is simple. I don't know what I did.
It's very nice.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Executive session. So at this, I'm going to ask that we have a motion to go into executive session pursuant to section 551.072 deliberation regarding purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and or section 551.087 deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we go into executive session regarding section 551.072 and section 551.087.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I will second.
And council, cast your vote. This is where it's gonna. I'll have to keep doing it till the motion passes. You filibuster it. So the motion passed unanimously. It is 8:36, and we're going to go into executive session. All right, so it is 9:20 PM. We are going to reconvene back into regular session. I will ask for everybody's favorite motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
All right, it is 9:20 PM and the meeting is adjourned.